Hello everyone, welcome to this week's feature video, which is all about Project Cars 3. Now, just briefly on Project Cars, obviously I played it at the very end of its life cycle in the first game in terms of its esports, and then went into Project Cars 2, which I played for quite a while, competing against the very best again, and then I left the game quite a while ago. Now, with Project Cars 3 being announced, we have looked at the trailer on the live stream, but we've had a few Twitter posts since then. We've also had a few developer blogs there, a couple of developer blogs, which have really expanded on all the information they've provided as of this point. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about 3 good things, 3 bad things, and 3 unusual decisions that they've made in terms of Project Cars 3. And there have been some unusual decisions, and some controversial ones, but we'll get to that shortly. So just give you an overall brief if you haven't seen or know already. The game releases on the 28th of August, so literally next month. Project Cars 3 is out. There's over 200 cars and over 140 tracks, which is a heck of a lot. There's going to be race suit liveries that you can design. The car liveries can be changed as well. There's upgrades to cars, so you know, exhausts, alloys. We saw that in the video as well, in the trailer. The new tyre model, which is apparently giving a more convincing and fun handling. I'm not sure how that can work side by side, but we'll talk about that shortly. A 24-hour time cycle in the game with full dynamic weather and all seasons, which I suppose we all expected because that was in Project Cars 2. Best in-class VR support. Now, I played VR in Project Cars 2. It was very good, so I suspect it would be very good in Project Cars 3. Unrivaled controller experience. That is one thing that did let it down quite severely on console. A visceral sense of speed. We'll get into that shortly. Intense crash effects and authentic car contact. That'll be interesting, that is for sure. Enhanced AI. Now, the AI in Project Cars 2 is very good. I've seen people who are obviously less skilled than myself play against the AI, and they love it. And I played against 120%, which wasn't quite at the level, the top level, but even so, it was still a good AI to race against. And apparently the game is now more driver-centric, which, honestly, when I spoke to them at Goodwood about when they were releasing Project Cars 2, and also at the last esports event I went to, they wanted to get it to be more fun again. That was one of their core things. They sort of realised that the fun had left Project Cars 2, and I fully agree with that. The fun did leave Project Cars 2. There was so much going on in the game, so much trying to be simulated. It became non-fun essentially. Now, don't get me wrong, there's fun aspects of Project Cars 2, but the fun sort of left it because there was so much to change, so much to look at. There were so many setup changes, so many things were being simulated, break temps, like all sorts, and you're sort of like, what? I just want to race at the end of the day. You know, I want to just sit down, relax, play a game, race a game. Plug-in and play factor is a very big thing, especially on this channel, of course, because we play Gran Turismo. So Project Cars, I'd love to see a plug-in and play. And by the sounds of that and the release information they've given, it sounds like that's what they're going towards, which in my opinion is a good thing. Now, speaking of good things, let's start off with Project Cars 3 and 3 good things that are coming in that game. So first of all, the 24-hour cycle and the full dynamic weather. Now, if it's anything like the live track system of previous, which was in Project Cars 2, superb. That was such a brilliant, brilliant system. Like, I still remember playing Project Cars 2 when it first came out, you know, putting on rain, even a storm, and literally having to avoid puddles. I still remember to this day, and I'll see if I can find the footage of this, May and Matty were racing at Nürburgring GP, okay? And we got to the last corner, and I thought, oh, Matty's gone a bit deep here, I'm going to go on the inside. No. Matty was avoiding a puddle, so I instantly hit that puddle, I went aquaplaning off. And I thought that was fantastic, because I couldn't see that puddle, Matty could, Matty avoided it. I thought, oh, excellent, he's leaving a gap, boom, hit the puddle, spin off. It is superb. If that full live track system is coming in, oh my word, that will be awesome. I've always said that the live track of Project Cars is genre changing, not just game changing, genre changing. It's what all other racing games need to head towards, you know, with the puddles growing and expanding. Like at Spa, I remember in a storm at Spa, the puddle expanded, so I was having to take the bus stop chicane wider and wider and wider because that puddle was just expanding. It's a really good system. So if that's what's coming in, big plus there in terms of Project Cars 3. Now, I've already mentioned it, the race suit and car liveries, you know, being able to design those. Another brilliant addition. We've seen how that's had a positive impact in other games. We've seen fantastic car liveries in other games. Now, there has been the ability to add a livery into Project Cars 2 on PC, but only you could see it and not other people, unless you had it installed, I believe. Don't quote me on that 100%. or alternatively, Project Cars themselves put it in the game. So we were very lucky as my old team, GTA, had their liveries brought into the game, as a few other teams did as well. And that was nice, you could see it in there. But the fact now that everybody can have their car liveries in, and you can change your racing suit as well, that is a good addition. I think a lot of people will enjoy that, and a lot of people will want to, get their own designs in there. And it's nice to watch on a grid as well. Seeing so many cars in different liveries, varied liveries, it's good. It just adds to the diversity and the fun of the game. And lots of people like just designing liveries, so it does bring in a good audience for Project Cars 3. An interesting one, the final good decision, tyre wear has gone. Now, some people will argue they don't like this, which is fair enough. We're all entitled to our own opinions. I personally love that fact. Playing other games, playing Project Cars 2 even, I think tyre wear is just a serious issue in general, especially if you start looking at sprint races. Because literally, tyre wear can then impact the balance of cars, and balancing cars then becomes a lot harder work. So tyre wear disappearing is good, and they've also taken the tyre temperatures and made the core temperature of the tyres the most optimal temperature, which is brilliant because that was a big problem in Project Cars 2. I still remember to this day, I was doing a time trial near Christmas. I think it was when the first regional time trials came out, and it was me versus Rotax. But every time you hit restart, the core tyre temperature changed slightly, and it was awful because you're having to press restart and hoping you get the best tyre temperature and then go, and it was very bad. So the fact that now it's optimized to that core temperature, now there's still some variation in some parts of the tyre temperature, if you're pushing too hard and scrubbing that tyre, but the core temperature stays the same. I think it's a superb addition. As I say, it was horrible in the fact that the temperature would change even on a given restart. And what you got to remember as well, they have a default setup, like in any game, a default setup for these cars. So at some tracks where the temperature is higher, obviously these setups wouldn't work as well. I remember Dubai being an absolute horrendous race because literally it's a higher track temperature, so the core setups don't work as well. Obviously you have overheating tyres. It was constantly sliding everywhere. So this is a big plus. Obviously it didn't make a good time trial experience in the past. I've just mentioned that. And it also meant that racing was awkward because sometimes you couldn't push in Project Cars 2 because you would overheat the tyres. Now, obviously, if you're scrubbing the tyres and doing stuff like that, that's fair game. But the fact that the overall core temperature, tyre temperature would increase so much meant you couldn't race. And we all play racing games to race at the end of the day. Some people want the simulation. I accept that. But a lot of people are just casual racers or just want the pick up and play factor. And the fact that that's gone is actually a really good thing in my opinion, because it means more people can just jump in and race and play and don't have to worry about tyre temperatures. And means stock setups work across all tracks as well. As I say, Dubai was horrendous in Project Cars 2, whereas then you go to a colder track and it might not work there as well because the tyres don't get enough temperature in. Really good. So yeah, they're my 3 pluses there. So it's nice to hear that they have done that. But we'll get on to tyre wear being not there anymore a little bit further in the unusual decisions as well. So 3 bad things now, or 3 bad things in my opinion, but some people will like these. As I say, these are my opinions. They're not necessarily your opinions. I'd love to hear your opinions down below in the comments as well, so make sure you put them down there. First of all, credits to buy cars. Now, it's not a system I like in any racing game, because when I look at a racing game, I just want to be able to try a race car, or use that race car, or use that race car, use that race car. So the fact that now you need credits to buy cars, I don't think it's a great decision, unless there's more to it, where you can just race any car you want online, and it's just a story progression system, then that's fine. That makes complete sense. But if you have to buy credits to then use these cars online, not buy credits, or use credits to buy the cars to race online, I'm not a fan. I'm really not a fan of that sort of thing. It does look like, though, and I will be honest, that they're trying to capture some of the old school GT audience. Because obviously they don't have that at the moment, Gran Turismo audience. It looks like it's very focused towards that, and obviously on PC there's nothing like this as well. So it's kind of like a half niche on PC, but also trying to capture that audience that have missed out on this experience on the PlayStation 4. So it could be, it could work for them, but it's not a system I particularly like. Now the next one is an interesting one. It's fully scalable assist, and this was a problem in Project Cars 2. So it depends how they've put this in. So one issue I have in many games, and it happens in all racing games, is assists and the levels that you can use them at. So to give you an example in Project Cars 2, there was always a big thing. What is better, full ABS weak ABS, or no ABS. Well, now if there's suddenly more scales to that, let's just say it's full ABS, 3/4 ABS, half ABS, 25% ABS, no ABS, suddenly you're now questioning yourself even more. What is the best? What is the worst? Do I have to now try 5 settings? Can I find out on the leaderboard, so say I'm doing a time trial, can I look at their settings and go, right, okay, they're using full ABS, or they're not using ABS? Because I think that's critical in fully scalable assists, to understand what other people are using, so then you can use the same. Because I get asked often, what settings am I using? Why am I using certain settings? And I'm only guessing what settings are the best. I don't have to try each setting to work it out. So it can be bad, this, in full scalable assist, and especially, I've just talked about ABS. If traction control is now the same, where you've now got 10 variations of that, you're now going to be putting in time to try and work out which traction control is best for which car, which ABS is best for which car, and it becomes a time sink very quickly. Whereas I'm much more of a person who likes it either on or off. 2 settings, on or off. Which one's fastest? Okay, I know which one's fastest. I can now race. Very simple, very easy to work with, and you know, that's why I've put it as a bad part of Project Cars 3. In my opinion, as I say, these are all my opinions. Now, this one is a very controversial third bad decision, in my opinion. Now, over 140 tracks. I didn't play all the tracks on Project Cars 2. And there's over 140 tracks. But generally, what it means as well, with over 140 tracks, there's not 150. So it's probably between 140 and 145, somewhere in that region. But basically, are there too many tracks? Because, as I say, in Project Cars 2, I didn't play them all. And I think that can be kind of bad, or bad experience, because then you feel you're overfaced by the amount of tracks. There can be, certainly, you know, Gran Turismo got it wrong in terms of there's far too few tracks. So is there an opposite scale? I think there is, personally, especially as not all these tracks will be laser scanned. I'm assuming some of the tracks they will buy the data from. So speaking to a track developer in another game, you know, some games can buy this data because it's a third-party company that buys this data. I don't know how Project Cars are doing their tracks. I know in Project Cars 2, a lot of the UK tracks were fairly accurate, but then in other tracks they weren't accurate, and you know, you were having some weird bumps in some places. Potentially the track wasn't as wide as it could be, and obviously the data you buy depends on how accurate you want the data to be. So is that going to then compromise some tracks and make some tracks not likable versus others that are more accurate and likable? I don't know. I think it's a bad decision to go with so many tracks. Maybe it's better to reduce that track amount to some extent to get it more focused and more accurate tracks. You know, some of the key tracks, maybe some unusual tracks in there as well. But that's just my opinion. But as I say, some people like unlimited choices. I think it's quite overfacing to have that many tracks, and then you miss out on racing some tracks. You may not necessarily race the same track more than once in the entire game, which is bad to some extent. But they're the 3 bad decisions there. Credits to Buy Cars, fully scalable assists, and over 140 tracks. So, we finally come to the 3 unusual decisions that Project Cars have made, and they are unusual decisions. So first of all, removing pit stops. Now it was noted, a lot of people commented on this very quickly, that the pits were barricaded off there, and obviously they've come out and said they've removed pit stops. I actually like this. I like this idea, I've got to say. Now I know some people hate it because they look at the endurance races and go, well, the endurance races no longer work. How can you have a 24-hour cycle and have no pit stops, for example? And they look at that and go, well, how does that work? But in reality, if you look at it, endurance races are the minority. And I hate to say that, but they are. The actual majority of racers who play racing games are going to be the casual players, the offline players, who just want to jump on for a 10-minute race, 15-minute, 20-minute race. Now, because tyre wear and fuel's been removed, what's the point of a pit stop? Well, they can remove that data from the game. And that, in theory, that actually leaves some processing power then, or some game storage to then do other things. So maybe they've dropped that for that reason. But you know, they want sprint races. Okay. Now, if you look at any esports event as well, so let's look at it from the esports perspective. Sprint races are better, and that's what a lot of people go towards. They don't like 400 pit stops in 10 minutes. You know, a sprint race is far better, more entertaining. So you have a 10-minute sprint race. Okay, there's result decided. Let's have another sprint race. Let's go for it. Close action, and a racing not decided by the pit stops and strategy in that sense. As I say, endurance races will not like this. It's a very unusual decision. We'll have to see how it plays out in terms of the game. I think it's a good decision, and it could balance the cars as well. I have written a note that it could better balance the cars, because obviously you're not deciding stuff on fuel usage, because some cars will use more fuel than others. Now that way you get rid of that whole problem. You can now balance the cars just on performance. So could be an interesting one, that is for sure. So the second unusual decision I've put is the upgrades. Now this is interesting because I'm just being a bit wary of this. As a racer, all I want to do is race cars. I know, don't get me wrong, a lot of the casual people, a lot of people like that progression, going through the road cars and then get into race cars, which is why I'm being just very wary of this. Because if you have upgrades, and we don't know whether this is in race car, just road cars, or whether it's race cars as well. In the video with the Corvette that comes straight down the middle, it looks like it might be race cars as well. I don't know. But then the problem you have is the bounce could be off, essentially. So you could have race cars with extreme bounce shifts then, and being able to bounce those cars is going to be very hard. So, as I say, it's an unusual decision to have or bring in those upgrades, because I know they've never had it before, as far as I'm aware, in the Project Cars series. It will be interesting. As I say, I think they're trying to get a core audience here. On the PC side, there's not that much that has this. And on the console side, I'm talking mainly from PlayStation, it's been lost in terms of the GT audience. So are they trying to capitalize on that? I think that might be the case. It could work out for them. I know a few Gran Turismo casual racers who bought the game, didn't like it because they couldn't buy that first car and upgrade it. They just traded it back in. This could be the game for them. As I say, I'm a bit wary of it because I think there could be some balance of performance issues there. I don't know how they're going to manage that, but yeah, it's an unusual decision. Finally, it was the sense of speed. I did mention I was going to get back to this. Now, in the trailer, this made the game look very, very, very arcadey, and I think it came across wrong, potentially. Now, they have said that you can turn this off. So, the way I see the sense of speed, it's all that, blur effects and all this lot. And I don't like that. I think it just takes completely away from the gaming experience. So, the fact you can turn it off is good. Fair play to them for mentioning that. Obviously, they didn't mention that in the initial video. It can be turned off. However, I'm very skeptical of it, because was the trailer just showing that new sort of sense of speed that they were trying to portray, or is that how the game actually looks? I say the whole blurriness you can turn off, or from what I've read you can turn off. I don't know. It's an unusual decision to add it, because I don't hear of many people asking for this. It's something new they've added to the game that I've not really heard anyone say, "Oh, I don't get a sense of speed." Because that's field of vision more than anything. So, it's unusual. I say, we're doing 3 good, 3 bad, and 3 unusual decisions. It's an unusual decision. So, that is my thoughts about Project Cars 3. I'm still very skeptical. I will be honest. I'm still very skeptical about the game. Just from the one trailer. It would be really, really nice if we could get some more footage of literally pure gameplay without that sense of speed on. Be nice if we could have what they did for Project Cars 2, where they had developers come in and there was just that live stream and videos and the communication. You could see them play it and such. That was kind of cool. It'd be nice if we could get that, especially with it a month to go. Just having it every week, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I'm still very much on the fence. I love the live track, so if that's back, I will happily buy this game just to experience the live track again, 100%. And the fact core tire temperatures have been stabilised is a big plus for me as well. And they are 2 very big pluses in my opinions. Also, one thing I haven't mentioned in all of this, if you look at the trailer, we have very large grids at Interlagos. And as you all know, I love large grids, so happy days with that one. So thanks. Hopefully that comes over to console as well with large grids, because I know in Project Cars 2 it was just on the PC. But that's going to be it in terms of this video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this interesting insight. As I say, I'm very skeptical. I'm on the fence at the moment. Originally, when I watched the trailer, it was a no. I'm on the fence now after reading everything I've done. Am I going to go to a yes? I don't know. We will see what happens. But, of course, we've only got 1 month to go. 28th of August is a release date. We'll see what happens heading towards that date, and actually on that date as well. I'll be very busy at work, but... yeah, yeah, we will see what happens. But that's going to be it now for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you in another video or live stream very soon.